Oregon reversed course on its high-profile 3-year-long experiment to decriminalize drugs, as Democratic Governor Tina Kotek signed a bill Monday adding new criminal penalties for drug possession amid increases in public drug use and opioid-related deaths. Measure 110 was approved by 58% of voters in Oregon in 2020. But since then, even the measure's previous backers have been working on a legislative compromise for change amid concern about drug use across the state. In Portland, city officials passed a September 2023 law banning public drug use amid concern about crime, homelessness and safety. Some evidence suggests that the law itself was hampered by poor implementation. A joint investigation by Oregon Public Broadcasting and ProPublica earlier this year found state leaders failed to implement initiatives to connect those fined by law enforcement with services, and that training for law enforcement on their role in the process was lacking. A 2023 state audit on the measure suggested that funding was slow to roll out and that many of the required services for those struggling with abuse were not running at full capacity. Republican State Representative Jeff Helfrich told CNN earlier this month that Measure 110 was an unmitigated disaster, noting, "You look at what has happened. Open fentanyl. Open drugs on the streets." The state's own estimates in March determined the new framework would likely result in 1,333 new convictions each year. Still lower than the numbers in the years prior to decriminalization, but only by around 16%, according to Oregon Public Broadcasting. It's not clear how much decriminalization has contributed to the number of overdoses or drug abuse in the state. At least one New York University study found no evidence to suggest the law had any link to fatal drug overdoses, but at least one other study from the University of Toronto found there was a link. Some lawmakers who voted against recriminalizing drugs feared it would bring a return to law enforcement tactics that overwhelmingly targeted black men, according to the Associated Press, with Portland's Democratic Senator Lew Frederick concerned that bringing penalties will attempt to use the same tactics of the past, and fail, only to reinforce the punishment narrative that has failed for 50 years. The Prison Policy Initiative argued against repealing decriminalization, noting the Oregon Health Authority had recorded a nearly 300% increase in people seeking addiction services since Measure 110 was enacted. Portland Democratic Mayor Ted Wheeler agreed with the decision to recriminalize drugs, but was cautious about the change, telling the New York Times, "I hope this isn't an excuse for people to turn their backs on the hard work of building a mental health system."